Are you not concerned about the fact that the BOJ holds so much of the equity markets on their books via the form of ETFs that if they were to decide that they were going to begin tightening, it would take a floor? So you'd have, if it is to be believed that we could see upside come through these Japanese markets, foreign money flows in, but then they could take the floor out from underneath by selling down those assets. So isn't that a little bit of a concern for anyone looking to invest in Japan right now?
I think everybody's aware of that concern, including the BOJ themselves. So, I think reading the press, you can see that other measures are being considered rather than just, dumping ETFs on the market. So, I think going into next year, and you were talking about sectors earlier, I think some of the sectors that really stand out to us would be, I think there's a lot of focus at the moment on banks, particularly the Japanese mega banks, where you've got PBRs are sort of in the region of around about 0.5 times, dividend yield somewhere between 4.5% and 5%. If you add on buybacks, you've got very strong total shareholder returns coming out of the banks. If, to go back to your first point, if there is a possibility that we see, maybe not an increase in, a major shift in BOJ policy, but, see some tweaking around the edges on YCC, then, the banks are going to move on that. So, I think where people are positioning at the moment, at least, is definitely around banks and financials in general.
Do you think that automation is a good play? A lot of these high-tech firms at the same time, because there are a lot of Japanese companies that have performed reasonably well, even with when you're benchmarking them against, say, the Nikkei 225, because that seems to be the wave of the future in Japan.
Yeah. I think factory automation is definitely one of these global themes that is getting a lot of attention at this time. From a geopolitical point of view, if you're seeing a diversification of supply chains in the region and globally, maybe some of it coming back to Japan, but definitely, going into other parts of Asia or going into, back into the US. I think the high quality Japanese factory automation names are really well placed to take advantage of that thematic.